Hello, everybody. Welcome to Business Growth Central, and this is a special edition
of
Business Growth Central. This is the Autumn Budget Reaction Emergency episode. Goodness gracious.
The underwhelmed edition.
I gotta say, hold on a second while I just yawn again. Oh my god. So we sat through the whole flipping budget.
We did.
And goodness, that was a tough watch. I mean, I guess some context before we start. This is Business Growth Central, and so this isn't the rest is politics or insert your favorite political, review here. So this is not a political institution. We're not going to get into the politics today. We're not even going to get into a whole lot of the finer details of the budget. This is a business owners focused look at the budget. This is our reaction of what we thought, and this is what we think that business owners and entrepreneurs should be taking away from what the Chancellor did yesterday.
And doing as a result of it.
Because when the budgets come out, typically business owners, entrepreneurs, there's always a bit of panic. There's always a bit, what if? I think business owners and entrepreneurs, because, so much is resting on our shoulders.
Yeah.
We often fear any sort of influence that's going to throw us off balance or take us off in different directions. And so there's normally quite a lot going on. This budget, obviously, we got a bit of a heads up on what was coming in the weeks ahead of it.
Just a bit.
And then they published the whole flipping thing beforehand. Anyone who was that keen.
It was quite funny because I was running a workshop yesterday morning, and I was due to break for lunch at 12:30, and then a colleague was running it in the afternoon. And I did finish bang on time for lunch. And so I came upstairs, and Cameron and Elliot were in my office with the telly on, and she just stood up to speak, hadn't I? And I walked in the room, and you told me that the whole thing had been leaked 45 minutes earlier, and which was in many ways just so symptomatic of the chaos, wasn't it? But I think if we do not want to get into the what people should be doing, and I don't think this can be a really helpful little broadcast to give business owners really clear structure and guidance as to actually what yesterday meant and means for you in terms of literally your actions and your behaviours today and tomorrow and next week and next month.
Exactly.
But before we get into that, just very, very briefly, I do think we just need to recap what is happening here, because we are obviously, I have been around in business a little longer than you. Yes. But the truth is, I've been in business well over 20 years now. And, through all that time, through the massive crash in 2008 and the big depression there, all the challenges that we had through the austerity years leading up to, Brexit and all the upheaval of Brexit. And then, of course, the pandemic. And it's been, any of us and many of our listeners and many of our EC members have been in business throughout this period as well. Yeah. But I am genuinely concerned on the back of what happened yesterday, and I do worry about the future, and I'll tell you why. What happened yesterday is that the Chancellor and the Prime Minister made a choice yesterday, and she was really clear about what it was. She chose to raise taxes over either increasing borrowing or cutting government spending. Mm-hmm. Okay, and she didn't really have any choice in that because her party won't let her cut spending, basically, and the bond markets won't let her borrow any money. Mm-hmm. But she tried to own it yesterday, made this choice. But what these choices and what yesterday's budget is doing, and it set out really a medium-term plan, because the impact on the economy and for us as businesses, the financial impact isn't going to be felt for quite a long time, because a lot of the stuff yesterday,
almost everything was delayed. It's like, we're going to put this in place in 2028. Yes. This will come into effect in 2030. It's like, flipping heck, what's the point?
Well, but this is of itself, this is actually quite damaging. So if we look at the tax burden by the end of this Parliament, by 2030, is going to be over 38% of GDP, which is enormous. I remember, it's not that long ago when it went above 30%, and it's that's in in the last 12, 13 years ago. Now we're up at 38%. And this is what worries me, because that increased tax burden will hit ordinary people, the customers of businesses, it's not the billionaires that are going to be impacted. It is ordinary people. The fact that you see the stats I saw overnight, they expect that by 2030 now, 25% of workers, that's 1 in 4, are going to be paying higher rate income tax. And that was never the plan. I mean, you think about people in our team, who people now in our team who are currently now on 44,000-45,000 pound salaries, by 2030, because of the fiscal drag and the freezing of the allowances, they're going to be paying higher rate tax.
That pesky fiscal drag.
Honestly, it's like bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like my PA is going to be paying higher rate tax. It's like, what the fuck?
They're going to need to rename those tax bands.
And but this is important because, and this is why I'm worried, because it is going to impact spending in the economy. And what we got yesterday, it was the kind of classic kind of straight up and down tax and spend kind of Labour government, Labour budget. So government spending's up, welfare's up, unemployment's going up. Yep. And by the way, that national minimum wage, which has had a above inflation increase, what do they think is going to happen? There's going to be less jobs for young people. It's so frustrating. But of course the debt interest is going to go up as well. And what we're seeing, and this is the big concern for me, is growth is coming down. Investment's going to go down. Confidence is going to go down. And I desperately want our country to succeed, but for that to happen, somebody at some point, please God, and it's not the current lot, but somebody's got to make some tough choices, and we've got to bring down the benefits bill, and we've got to genuinely go for growth.
Yeah.
And because at the moment, if you work hard, if you run your own business, even if you're an employee, even if you're an employee, I mean, we don't have many employees watching this podcast, but the people that work for us, salt of the earth, hardworking, conscientious, the people that built this country, if you work hard now and you do the right thing, you're going to be taxed a lot more. And what that means is you've got less money to spend. And if it was just us as entrepreneurs, we'd kind of be okay with this. People are asking me, at the weekend, are you worried about the budget? And I'll say, no, I'm not worried about the budget at all. I say, why not? Because honestly, it's almost a little bit like self-flagellation. It's like, throw whatever you want at me, Rachel Reeves. I'll fucking deal with it. I'll find a way. You know what I mean? We'll find a way to deal with it. I will not let you diminish or impact my life in a negative way. But the problem is, it's not just us as entrepreneurs, and this is why I'm worried, because it's our customers that are going to get impacted by this. Because what we've got now is an economy where everyone's worried. Yeah, everyone's worried. Even like your nan is worried. You know what I mean? She's worried she gets to pay tax on her pension. It's ridiculous. And actually the delay in implementation doesn't actually help. Putting the 3 pence a mile on electric cars. In 2028, fuck, what does that do? What do I do? I buy an electric car? Do I not buy an electric car? What's happening? And the thing is, when people are worried and concerned, paralyzes them and they don't take action. And this is why this is the most worrying thing for me on the back of the budget yesterday, is that business owners don't realise the impact this is going to have. It's going to become harder almost for everybody to sell what they sell. It's going to be harder for restaurants to get people in. It's going to be harder for people that sell cars to sell cars. It's going to be harder for people installing air conditioning units or providing HR advice because people are going to be more cautious and more worried. And that's the real concern, which I think forces entrepreneurs into there's only one place we can go here. And what we have to do, and this is the bit that's liberating and allows you to switch off all the noise from the media and actually focus on the things that are in your control as a business owner. Never has it been more important than we have to control the controllables, the things that actually we can take control of. And this has always been the case, and I've spoken a lot of times in the past about it's what happens in your street and your house that shapes your future, not what happens in Downing Street or the Houses of Parliament. But I just think this has never ever been more important. So the businesses that will flourish, and there will be lots of businesses that will flourish in between now and 2030, when I feel certain this current government will be kicked out the door. But what will happen is, in every sector between now and then, there'll be a relatively small number of businesses that will flourish and thrive, and there'll be a much bigger number that will struggle, to survive. And the way to make sure you're in the first group and not the second group is to focus on the things that are in your control. And that means turning your business into a lean, mean marketing machine. No, but it's true, because all the stuff that's happening currently that businesses do that's a bit mediocre, with a mediocre website, or a little bit of a dabble on this is going to. It's not going to work to bring in the customers. It's going to you have to get really good at this stuff. You're going to have to get really good at Google Ads. You are going to have a plan for next year. I mean, it's never been more important to have a plan, to know what actually has to happen in the business. How many inquiries do we need in January and February and March to get ourselves ahead and to own the year? Cracking the rhythmic acquisition of customers is going to be harder than I think it's ever been in 2026 and 2027, for the reasons I've just talked about. But the businesses that crack it, and it absolutely is crackable, that workshop I was running yesterday was all about getting businesses into six figures and beyond. We had a really great day, despite the big dump of misery that came at lunchtime. So controlling the controllables and recognising that as business owners, we are in control, not Keir Starmer or Rachel Reeves. That was my big takeout.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, you're right. I think that it's important for business owners, almost more than anyone else, to make sure that they don't spiral down some dark hole of just worry and fret. And actually, we need to just pull our pants up, put our big boy pants on, and just move into next year more focused and more driven to do the things we know we need to do in order to get this business to where we need it and want it to be.
And we're entrepreneurs, and we're a resilient bunch. That's the truth of it. And lots of the people we work with, have been around the block a few times. It's not their first rodeo. I do think this is like the most challenging of all the ones that I talked about. Certainly in the last 20 years, this is the most challenging time that we're in for now. But I am very buoyed about it, because I know the business owners that recognise the need to take control and take action will be the ones that will flourish and thrive. It's we all of us find out how good we are when the going gets a bit tough. The smooth sea never made a good sailor. You find out when it ggets a bit choppy and a bit rough. You see it in sport. When you're a couple of goals down at half time in a match that you've got to win. The big players come to the fore, and that's what will happen. There is a big opportunity here for entrepreneurs, whatever sector you are in, to literally say, fuck it. I am not going to get dragged down and sucked into the gutter. Playing the whole kind of, the big thing will be price. People, they'll be the mass market, because people are being taxed more, they've got less money, so they'll be shopping on price. So it makes it more important for businesses to succeed to be shopping with the people that are less price sensitive, for instance. Now that requires, that can't happen overnight. That requires you to be really thoughtful about your positioning, about the customers that you actually want to do business with, about how you get their attention, about how you get into conversation or get them to come and visit you or get an appointment, about the things that you say, because genuinely, actually, making sales to affluent customers requires different behaviours. We talked about it we talked about it in an episode that we recorded yesterday morning, and that will be going out in a couple of weeks' time. We actually covered that marketing to the affluent piece. So it's a time for business owners to take control. Yeah,
and I think that as a budget overall, it wasn't the most exciting. From either end, it wasn't like they were. She didn't do anything crazy to the big ones, to income tax, national insurance. It's everything that's the consequences of this budget. It's almost all done kind of stealthily.
But it's all to keep her and Keir Starmer in a job.
Well, yes, of course, but let's not get political.
Sorry.
I think that rather than dwelling on the current Chancellor and the budget,
Yes.
I thought, why not? Fun little exercise, maybe to end on a bit of a high, to bring us back some positivity.
I was very positive.
That was, yeah. But the air of the whole thing, you know. But to really end on a high, I thought, fun little game.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, let's just think for a minute, because being Chancellor, I mean, I don't know why anyone in the world would want that job. Flippin' heck.
You're not applying?
No, absolutely not. No. And I forbid you from doing it either.
Okay.
But in this hypothetical fun little game, let's say that Entrepreneurs Circle, let's say that we suddenly had the power to bestow upon the country a budget.
Okay.
A budget with a mandate that's sole focus was on helping the small businesses and the entrepreneurs of this country to actually grow,
Okay.
a true EC budget to the nation. Like what's on the wish list? Like what would Rachel Reeves have had to stand up there and say to have us absolutely praising
Properly drive growth.
Yeah.
Right. Scrap the employee rights bill. Kill that, because that's going to have another massive depressing impact. Employment's going to suffer, takes money out of the economy. Scrap it.
Yeah.
Scrap net zero, because energy costs are killing so many businesses. I mean, even us here, look at our bill in this building. And we're, listen, there's lots of businesses massively struggling. Growth is being inhibited because of our energy costs. They're the highest in the world in all developed countries. We have just got to change that. Stamp duty, get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and it's suppressing the housing market. We need to liberate people, to get on the housing ladder.
Yeah.
We've got staff here who are not able to yet buy their houses because they can't afford the stamp duty. It's ridiculous, and house buying triggers so much more spending.
Yeah,
and that's why it's such a driver of growth. So there's my three.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, really good go. Quick, Chancellor. I think that there's plenty you can do around. I think there's big stuff and there's little stuff. I think removing like zero corp tax on your first 100 grand of profit, for example.
Oh, sorry, removing corp tax.
Yes.
Because there isn't a zero corp tax.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Remove it, as in, so, actually, when you're starting a business, when you're growing that business, it just removes that extra bit of pressure there.
So your first 100 grand of profits are yours, because that will drive growth.
Then you can reinvest that.
Drive investment.
Spend that there.
Absolutely right.
I think there's plenty you could do around national insurance, employers' national insurance to help incentivize employment, to make that less of a big deal. Maybe even like a scale for it. So remove employers' national insurance on your first 5 employees.
Nice.
Do it on salary bands and all sorts of stuff, but do it properly there. But then little stuff like the government, the high streets are going to completely disappear soon unless we do something about it, and it requires something big to happen. And I think that even designating little small business zones in local areas, where actually the government effectively, subsidizes even flipping parking, free parking for 2 hours in town centres. Even that would drive spend, it would drive growth around those local businesses. And then there's also what you do around, lowering business rates in those areas and stuff like that.
She did do something like that yesterday. Business rate, there was some positive stuff on that.
There was. I just think that even the little things, there was really not a lot to get excited about if you're a business owner yesterday. And there's some quick wins that I feel like you could pull out. Okay,
so to wrap it up then, because people have got busy days, lots to do.
Goodness gracious.
Our take on the budget yesterday, essentially, it's going to be harder for businesses to get their customers and potential customers to buy over the medium term. We're looking at a 3 or 4 year window here where we've got these challenges, and therefore the importance of you taking control, of formulating a proper plan. We have our planning day next week, but we are Fix 26.
Fix 26.
We should put a link to that on the pages where this is, because it's a free event. You're welcome to come. But it's all about putting the right plan in place. I'm going to talk you through step by step. It's all online, and it's free. But that will be really helping with the right plan and recognising that the number of customers and the money that they spend with you next year is in your control. You as a business owner have ownership for that and responsibility. It's not like you're buying the lottery ticket. It isn't Rachel Reeves' fault if your sales go down. It's your fault because you failed to respond in the right way. So we're going to rise up as entrepreneurs. We're going to take control. We're going to own our future, and we're going to find a way to succeed and prevail despite what these fuckers in Parliament are doing.
And on that note, we'll see you next Wednesday with a more traditional episode of Business Growth Central.
And Elliot's back then.
And Elliot's back then.
All right, bye-bye.